BBC One, tonight's edition of South Today, with Harry Gration.
Good evening. Police have launched a murder inquiry after a man was stabbed to death in Hampshire. The body of the man, who hasn't yet been identified, was found outside a pub in Southsea last night. Police believe he was stabbed during a fight with another man. This afternoon they recovered a black Ford Sierra car, which they believe belonged to the victim. Daniela Relf reports.
A section of Albert Road in Southsea remained cordoned off for much of the day as police searched for the murder weapon. Two men were seen walking along the road late last night. Witnesses say they began to argue outside the Lord John Russell pub. The body was found with serious stab wounds just before midnight. A man aged around 25 with reddish-brown hair was seen running away from the scene.
The two men, as far as I'm aware, hadn't just come from the pub. They were walking along the street prior to this, quite convivially talking, and then they were observed by witnesses to suddenly go into an argument. As a result of this tragic incident happened where this man lost his life.
Police are appealing to anyone in the area last night to contact them. Detectives are keen to trace a taxi driver seen on Albert Road last night. It's believed he had to drive around the two men as they were fighting. Albert Road runs through the centre of Southsea. The area is popular with students.
It's usually a really friendly area.
Yeah. I walk up and down this road quite a lot, and I feel quite happy being on my own at night walking around here, so yeah, I really am shocked.
It does frighten you. Makes you think, you know where you think, yeah, it's always somewhere else, as everybody said, it's always somebody else other than ourselves.
A post-mortem was carried out on the dead man's body this afternoon. An incident room has been set up at Fratton Police Station.
And the number for that incident room is 01705 839333. That's 01705 839333. Grains of sand have been used to unravel the mystery of an ancient pot found by archaeologists at the University of Southampton. The new technique was used to determine the origins of the 2,500-year-old pot, which was originally thought to have been found in Cheshire. Martin Popplewell reports.
This cup was rediscovered in Southampton University's strong room in 1993. It had lain there forgotten for over 80 years. And that's where the mystery begins. The label says that it was found buried in Cheshire, but these cups were made in Italy 2,500 years ago, before the rise of the Roman Empire.
If this was excavated in this area, it would be a fairly remarkable find. These vessels are exported out of Etruria to get around the Mediterranean. They also get up into northern Europe across the Pyrenees, but they don't actually get over to England very often.
To solve the mystery, the archaeologists at Southampton scraped dirt from the pot, analysed it under a microscope and found the minerals were the same as those found in Italy. It hadn't been dug up in Cheshire after all.
I think we may well have been disappointed that it wasn't, but on the other hand, we were quite pleased that the technique seemed to work, and that we may very well have a technique here that could actually say where pots were found.
So where did it come from? The Etruscan people who made these cups built elaborate tombs to accommodate their dead in the afterlife. It's likely that one of these was raided and the pot then entered the antiquities market. Wherever it came from, the university now hope to use soil analysis to solve similar mysteries in the future.
Well, on to football now, and generally a bleak Boxing Day outing for most of our teams. Bournemouth take pride of place and Reading and Brighton drew. Pompey lost, and you'll see why. A ridiculous mistake by their goalkeeper. As for Saints, they'll go down if they play again like that. Who said that? Their manager. What can you say about the Southampton defence? Terrible. Apart from Besant's save there, Everson couldn't miss. Nor could he miss his second. It looked to be heading for a rout. But at least Letizier, just when Southampton were beginning to play well, managed to get one back for Saints. Now, could they spur themselves in the second half? No, Nielsen's goal made it 3-1. Saints are going down on this form. Now, the Portsmouth goalkeeper is heading for a fall himself. Into the second team, perhaps, after that pathetic back pass. And Cow scored the goal. Swindon took 3 points there, virtually at the death. But this was the goal of the day from Cherry's Mark Lawson. Lovely skills. And they don't come better than that. 3 points for Bournemouth. Brighton, though, had to settle for a point. Baird was fouled in the penalty area. You can't really see it clearly, but you can see the penalty scored by Monday. They've still a long way to go, but at least they're on the turn. And virtually a full programme, of course, tomorrow as well. Now, 1996 saw many memorable events in the South and a few light-hearted moments too. In the first of our reviews of the year, David Fenton looks back at the ups and downs of some of the stories which made the news in 1996.
5 weeks into the new year and the South was snowed in.
Just like going into the Arctic. Hard to spot the cars in the snow, but we didn't touch one anyway.
In Dorset, drifts 4 feet deep cut off villages, closing roads and schools. But the pubs stayed open.
How can you look sad when you're stuck in a pub?
I'm up the street.
Why are you up the street?
There's something being cut down. See that red X down there? That means it's going to be cut down.
And this is it, we're off, and what a good start as we come up over the first fence, some terrific...
In March, South Today went to the races.
And they're going back. Oh, what a turn-up.
The sheep races in West Sussex. It also reported on the humming alpacas.
Yeah, well, there you are. They do hum when they get happy. We told you about that.
And met the monster lobster, saved from the pot.
It's too big, really. Once they get older, their flesh gets really hard and it isn't very tasty at all. Plus, you need a big pot as well, which I don't think many people would have at home.
In Portsmouth, police began an international search for Victor Farrant, wanted in connection with the murder of Glenda Hoskins. He was later arrested in France. And in July, we told the tragic story of baby Jack. His mother had been kept alive by machines until he was born. The father said mother and child should have been allowed to die.
Any shred of humanity was just taken away from her. She was not treated as a person, she was treated as a human incubator.
Baby Jack was delivered safely. His mother Sarah died 3 days later.
There has been so much hurt and sorrow that such a thing should have happened. We pray to God that this should not happen to anyone's family, because if it happens in one family, it affects every other family and everyone is heartbroken. Even now, when anyone talks about the Karia family, then the scene goes through our minds like a picture, and it is so painful.
Today, for the first time in almost half a century, thousands of people will find their regular train services being provided by private sector companies.
Cows Week, and the going's rough. In gale force 9 winds, the yacht struggled to stay afloat.
I was really frightened at one point when we got out beyond the Needles, and we were tipped so far over I thought we were just going to drop off the top of the boat.
Meanwhile, storms hit the Dorset coast, leaving Portland awash. In October, the government announced a new bypass for Salisbury.
Far too much of this country's wildlife habitat has already been destroyed as a result of roads, and we'll do whatever it takes to try and drag the process out, to try and prevent it happening.
Across the channel, a blockade by French lorry drivers was causing problems for fishmongers in Dorset.
They don't get it settled shortly, we'll have, well, the market will be gone for Christmas.
The battle is on.
Catch those puppies!
And back in the south, dog breeders were preparing for a black and white Christmas.
Doesn't time fly? David Frenton reporting. It may have come too late for Christmas, but snow has been falling in many parts of the south today. These fields near Basingstoke had a light dusting this morning. There were snow showers in Berkshire, North Hampshire, Sussex and Surrey, though they'd largely died out by this afternoon. Now let's have a look ahead, shall we, to the weather front. There is a chance of a few sleet or snow flurries in the east of the region tonight. Well, elsewhere it will stay dry. Now the lowest temperature will be -1 Celsius with icy stretches on the roads. Now tomorrow, a mainly dry and bright day, starting rather cloudy, but sunny periods will develop through the morning. Temperatures only 3 or 4 Celsius at best. And the outlook for the next few days, staying very cold with sunny intervals and scattered wintry showers. The day temperatures only 3 Celsius. That's it so far this evening. We're back, of course, after 9 o'clock. Good night.
BBC One South Today brings you a new look for the new year.
A large task force will sail as soon as... Every night of every week for the past 35 years, South Today has brought you the events as they happen.
The Aldershot bombing was the worst ever act of terrorism in this country.
The stories that matter, the tragedies and triumphs.
On the seabed for 437 years.
The disasters and discoveries. We were there as history was made.
In 1997, we bring you a new look to the programme, but the aim is the same, to deliver the most comprehensive coverage of news and events in your area.
South Today from the BBC. New look, same values.